Hey guys, so glad you're here, taking a little bit of time to watch this video. We are going to review today dose calculations. So these can be a little intimidating for some people, but hopefully after a little bit of a review, they become second nature. Dose calculations are a big part of our job as veterinary technicians, so let's see kind of where we start. So basic dosage calculations can be broken down into 3 steps. Step 1 is 9 times out of 10 always going to be converting your weight from pounds to kilograms. So this is a pretty simple calculation to do. So you can just remember that for every 1 kilogram you have 2.2 pounds. So you can divide your body weight in pounds. For example, 22 pounds. You can just go ahead and divide it by 2.2 pounds to give you your body weight in kilograms, okay? Or if you're a visual person, a little bit like I am, you can set it up kind of as a fraction. So your starting number, 22 pounds, is always going to be over 1. We can multiply. And so this is something where we always put on the bottom what we want to get rid of, and then on the top the unit that is our goal. So in this instance, we're trying to get to kilograms, and we want to get rid of pounds. So looking at our setup here, we see that kilogram is the larger unit in this instance. So for every 1 kilogram, we kind of reach into our archives of our brain. You remember that there are 2.2 pounds. Okay, our like units are going to cancel out. We will multiply straight across, giving us 22 divided by 2.2 is equal to our body weight in kilograms. Okay, so basic math says that 22 divided by 2.2 is going to be 10 kilograms. So in this instance, this 22-pound pet, is going to weigh 10 kilograms. Okay, so that is usually always going to be your first step of a dose calculation. Step number 2 is going to be actually determining the dose in milligrams. So finding the dose in milligrams. So in order to find the dose in milligrams, you should be given a dosage rate in the problem. So dosage rates are usually going to be expressed as mgs or milligrams per kilogram. Okay, so that's going to be your most common way you're going to find that information. There are instances that maybe you see it as units per kilogram. Maybe you see it as milligrams per pound, okay? Maybe you even see it as micrograms per kilogram or micrograms per pound. So obviously if the weight for our patient is given in pounds and then we see a dosage rate, like these two guys over here, okay, we wouldn't have to do any conversions. There would be no point to do step number 1. But if our dosage rate is given in milligrams, micrograms, or units per kilogram, we obviously would need to convert the weight in pounds to kilograms. So step 1 would be essential. So making sure your units for your weight and your units for your dosage rate match are going to be essential to making sure you get the right answer. One of the most common ways, again, you're going to see that dosage rate is going to be milligrams per kilogram. So for example, for this pet, if it needed metoclopramide, for example, we would dose that at 5 milligrams per kilogram. And we would just take our weight in the previous problem, and that would be our starting unit, which we have here, 10 kilograms. And again, if we're visual people and we like to make sure we cancel out our units, we can set these up as fractions. So the unit that we want to get rid of, kilograms, is going to be on the bottom. And then our goal unit, which is milligrams, is going to be up here on the top. Okay, so our dosage rates, what we've been given here, we're just going to plug into our empty spaces. So for every 1 kilogram, which we'll put here, there are going to be 5 milligrams of medication, which we would put on the top. We're simply going to multiply straight across. Our units will cancel out, okay? Like units are going to cancel out. And then that will give us 50 milligrams for this pet's dose in milligrams. Awesome. So once we are at this point, we can kind of keep going. And usually the question may ask to just find the milligrams per dose, or the question may ask you to keep going and find how many milliliters or how many tablets that pet needs per dose. So step number 3 is going to be finding the dose in milliliters or tablets. Okay? And that information should also be given to you in the problem. That's something you should never assume. The problem may even give you multiple concentrations of medication. So pay attention to what the problem is asking you and then go from there. So we can say that the medication that we're formulating up here, metoclopramide, it usually comes in a 5 milligram per milliliter solution. So if we come down here and we need to figure out how many milliliters, if this pet's going to get this fictional 50 milligrams of metoclopramide, how many mLs that pet would need. So we take the information we already calculated up here, 50 milligrams, and that's what we'll start with. We're going to go ahead and set up our equation. We know that we don't want to get milligrams, and that maybe since metoclopramide does come in an injectable form, we want to go ahead and find it in milliliters. We will find that information in our problem and then set up our equation appropriately. So we know that for every 1 ml, we're going to have 5 milligrams of medication. Our like units are going to cancel out. And then we're going to set up our problem accordingly by multiplying straight across. Okay? So 50 divided by 5 is going to be what this pet needs in milliliters. So 50 divided by 5 is going to be 10. So this pet is going to need 10 milliliters of this fictional metoclopramide suspension, okay, at this fictional medication dosage. So that's just kind of the basics. We will work through a problem together now.